Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year again. Welcome back to the Deplorable Batcave, the greatest hive of scum and villainy known to the internet. I'm your host, Spartacus Ryuo, and joining me from my left to my right, we have Ice and Fire.
Hey guys, I got some delicious ice cream tonight. I'm just going to be enjoying this for the rest of it.
Withhold easy joke. Beggar Hero.
Howdy ho, everybody.
Bigfoot. He's muted right now, so okay.
Have you guys bought Skyrim yet?
Blippity blop.
Tally ho, and I shall raise a glass of whiskey to that.
See, well.
Help, they kidnapped me.
Back of the box.
No, not the box.
On my spine.
Gimpy is our currently is going to be our astromech for the night, and of course, we have Wandering joining us once again.
Hey, EA is still a disappointment.
Speaking of EA, gentlemen, today's special, yes, and we're doing another special, so one topic all the time. E3 tonight. That it's happened. It's
skin crawl, huh?
It's happened. It's percolated. Everything is out. So now that the dust has settled, let's talk E3. First up, we're gonna go around the group. Personal E3 highlights. Just talking about what you saw, that you liked. Not too much detail. We'll go into that at a later part. So yeah, basically what you saw that you liked from who. Starting on my left, Ison.
Well, actually, you know what? Bethesda did all right. They showed off Rage 2, which I actually liked Rage 1. And Rage 2 is being made by the guys who made the Mad Max game, so it's probably going to be great. They had Doom Eternal, which, mind you, is just amazing looking. Then on top of that, you have Fallout 76, which I was initially very, very skeptical about, but the more information that comes out, the more I think it might be good. Then you had Ubisoft with Starlink, in which, Fox is in it, Star Fox. You can play an open-world Star Fox game, which is amazing after the Wii U trash. You got a Star Wars announced by EA that's going to be made by Respawn, which I personally am looking excited to. You have the Smash for the Switch, and most of all, Devolver is creating, finally, an English version of Metal Wolf Chaos. So if you'll excuse me, I need to go cancel all my presidential meetings. I gotta go save America. In a mech. That's all.
Welcome, Kiwi. Just so you didn't miss anything.
He knows.
Okay. Beggar.
Right. So I think out of all the E3 stuff, I think probably my favorite thing that I ever saw was the more Metro gameplay on it, Metro Exodus. As someone who bought the original Metro game, I was just impressed with it. And then probably at the end of the day, I've just liked seeing Doom Eternal. Just want to play some fucking heavy metal and Slayer on that shit. But I think those were the two big things I took from it.
Alrighty. Bigfoot.
Just died twice. I'm so excited to see some new elements get or the reinvention of the Dark Souls formula. That'll be really interesting to see where that goes. I'm eager to see more of it.
It looks so cool.
And the Resident Evil 2 remake. I've only played Resi 1, 0, and 4 as of yet, so I'm going to wait to play 2. Game demo footage I've seen of it that some people have uploaded quite a bit of it. It looks pretty damn good, I do have to say. Though I'm kind of interested to see how the mechanics change, because it almost looks like you can't blow off the head of zombies anymore. Because in one of the gameplay or one of the demos, there's a zombie and
that'll be part of the detail segment.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my bad. Too much.
Anything else you saw?
The for Doom was interesting, but I'll hold off for that. And Metal Wolf Chaos, yeah, that'll be it for me. That's about all I saw that kind of percolated me.
Okay, Blop.
Speaking of percolation, like a fine coffee, Bethesda teased what's going to be the next Skyrim game. Actually, I'm in two thoughts about it. On the one hand, I'm very excited about the possibility of a new Elder Scrolls game, but on the other hand, I'm also skeptical about how that's going to be executed. We can go into that more detail afterwards. I was astounded to see Ghosts of Tsushima, even though I'd have to be a console peasant to be able to enjoy that. And if that ever does see the light of day on PC, it's probably going to be really poorly optimized. But graphically, thematically, it looked absolutely stunning. On the same note, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. It looks really interesting. Cyberpunk 2077. Not sure what to think of it at this point, given that we didn't really see very much. We saw a trailer, a lot of controversy about certain elements, but we can get into more detail about that later. Definitely, it's got my interest. I've been keeping an eye on that for quite some time in terms of its development. And Fallout 76 as well, because, as it turns out, this is going to be an online version. And whilst I'm not a big fan of that particular genre, i.e. post-apocalyptic scenarios, I'm keeping my eye closely on that one.
Anything else?
That's pretty much it. I wasn't that interested in other titles.
All right, Sewell, what did you see that you liked from E3?
Well, obviously, you guys are all wrong. It's all about FIFA 19, Mad 19, and Farming Simulator 19. No, I'm
Forza
joking.
Horizon 4.
I'm just
Damn it, you
kidding.
took
I didn't really see a lot of E3, but I have seen a couple of the previews and a couple of games based on companies that I do kind of have a little bit of faith in. The ones that I'm kind of looking forward to is a Cyberpunk 2070. I'm really hoping somebody comes up with... Look, Deus Ex, I had a little bit of fun with it, but I never was able to get captured by it. So I'm hoping Cyberpunk 2070 is a little bit more easier entry, if that makes any sense. I'm looking forward to the Call of Cthulhu game coming out, because I do love the Cthulhu mythos. So I am looking forward to that. And some of the stuff from Bethesda, I'll kind of agree with you guys. I'm cautiously optimistic for Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 76 with a lot of the same worries that you guys have.
Alrighty. Gimp is busy beeping over in the comment section. So, Kiwi, what did you see that you liked from E3? Or are you having audio issues?
I suppose he has himself muted and doesn't realize it.
Audio issues. Okay.
I was going to go with he's dealing with Australian Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Which, as we
probably
know,
something like that.
is the
Probably.
world's finest.
Okay. If you sort that out, we'll come back to you, Kiwi. Wandering.
Cyberpunk. And also in the Last of Us 2, when you're basically the cure for humanity and the zombie apocalypse, but you're a lesbian. Really nice for Naughty Dog to do this.
Naughty Dog, the doctored gameplay footage.
That was all that you saw that you liked?
No, just the shortened version. Yeah, I'm not gonna go on the long tangent.
Well, give us a little bit more to work with than that.
Hey, Kiwi, it's getting kind of nasty coming from your end.
Oh, can you guys actually hear me now?
We can hear you now, though.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Devolver is really fun with the it's basically this arcade shooter. It's basically you dance around and bouncing bullets. It's a ballerina of death, and that EA is really just dead right now, just dead in the water.
I mean, game-wise, not just, EA in general.
Well, then Shichiro's died twice. I'm gonna buy Ghost of Tsushima. I need a PS4, which I'm probably gonna get after selling my Xbox. Yeah, I'm probably gonna sell that. And then I might try out Fallout 76 as my first Fallout game.
Anything else you want to throw in there? No?
Yeah.
Bleeding to Vegas first.
Kiwi, now that you're with us.
He's gone again.
Alright, so
No.
is my mic working now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, fantastic. It's not like destroying you guys or anything?
Nope.
Not at the moment.
Okay, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm just gonna go with it. So, I want to start with something that I was very disappointed that I didn't see. I really wanted to see.
We're not going into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That can be talked about later.
Okay, fine. Something that I want to talk about later, which we will, is definitely Fallout 76. It could be pretty good, might not. It depends on how they pull it off. I'm a bit optimistic about it. I was unfortunate enough to see all of EA's presentation, and my god, that was disappointing.
That'll be the next round.
Again, different segment.
Different segment, kid.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is possible E3 highlights. What you like?
This is what we like.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is what I told you before the show.
But definitely, Fallout 76 and the Elder Scrolls 6, they didn't really give much, but goddamn am I excited for that. I was also actually kind of surprised in how much humor Bethesda had, to be quite honest, with their very special edition. But, I mean, overall, that's all I really got to see was a bit of Bethesda, a bit of Sony, but I know you guys don't want to talk about Sony, so I'll leave that one out. But I have a lot to talk about that I didn't like, which I guess we can talk about very soon.
Yeah, that'll be segment 2. On my end, however, I was excited for Resi 2, because my god. And Ghost died twice, definitely. I mean, that's...
Shadows died twice.
Shadows died twice. Okay, I thought it was Ghost, my bad. Yeah, you're right. I was confusing the two titles. Thank you. And Ghost of Tsushima, because, oh my god, the visuals alone. But, I don't know. Other than that, yeah, Metal Wolf Chaos definitely looks interesting, especially as a first-time Western release. Other than that, the only thing I saw that truly caught my attention was Andrew WK. I can't wait for that game release. I forget, because I mostly saw recaps. Did they show any more from Mega Man 11?
I don't think they showed Mega Man 11.
Okay, so they just released it before E3 and didn't say anything at E3. Alright. So that doesn't count. I can't talk about that. Okay, yeah, that's basically it for me. So, looks like for the most part... Oh yeah, and of course Kingdom Hearts 3, but that almost doesn't count.
I keep on forgetting about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, because it's finally coming in January.
Mega Man 11 was talked about at E3. Just to let you know.
Okay. But
You can talk about that.
if we get time. But yeah, so for the most part, most of what I like came from Sony. But that's neither here nor there. Now that all of us have gone through once, and going by the tallies that everybody talked about, clear winner for first discussion is Fallout 76. So, that's the game we're going to be talking about, gentlemen. So, I'm going to throw this out here first. Apparently, I have a CNN article available for Fallout 76. So it's going to be set just 80 years after the bombs drop.
25.
It says a little over 80 in the CNN article.
It's contradictory.
Yeah, article is wrong.
Contradictory.
From my understanding, it's something like 20 years, isn't it?
It's 25 according to an actual in-game date that you can see on one of the Pip-Boys. As was also announced by Todd Howard at the E3 Bethesda event.
Okay, all right. So they're claiming it's going to be more colorful than Fallout 4, which already looked like way too much colors. Personal. Apparently, it's going to be the biggest Fallout game ever made. Its world setting will be 4 times larger than Fallout 4.
I think they're ignoring that 1 and 2 exist.
There was a lot of, if I remember right, there wasn't a lot of true wasteland you walked through. You kind of went from place to place in a loaded.
Yeah, you got a
screen.
point there.
Yeah.
As long as that you can immerse yourself in those worlds anyway.
And for those unaware, it's a shared world survival game that's entirely online.
The current reports are 24 to 32 player servers.
So apparently, the claim that I'm seeing is apparently every human you see, as in every human period, is going to be a player. There's not going to be a whole lot of NPCs, if any.
I mean, that sure sounds like a Fallout game to me.
Yeah, hold on. How does that work?
I heard that you can turn off the online portion and just play offline.
Apparently you can't. It's always online.
I'm pretty sure you can do that. You can go offline.
If I may, you cannot. 24 to 32 players. It is softcore, so there's not really a good incentive to. There's no incentive to kill other players other than to be a dick. And when you do that, you increasingly add a bounty on your head that makes everyone else want to get you. And your location is always on the map.
Okay, that actually addresses one of my primary concerns. Because
One of mine as well.
Because if it's a softcore, that means you can't get teams of dedicated trolls just fucking everything up.
They're
Yeah,
gonna nip
they
the entire
can't-
fucking map.
Yeah, they can't just run and hide.
Well, that's on top of the map system. And wandering. Apparently, the nuke thing isn't what it sounds like. Apparently, the nukes force a spawn of end game level content. That's it. It's for loot drops.
It provides a warning as well. Most people will clear the area, and you normally want to have it detonate close to you so you can be the first one in there to get all the good loot.
Wow.
So
Okay, hold on. So let's say you nuke an area. Is there does it set time as to when it sets back, or?
We don't know that. That's actually something we don't know.
Because, I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I like the idea of having the nukes being like a very permanent,
Also, if you just a quick kind of dive into lore, the song they used, though they didn't use John Denver, who wrote the song, this does actually potentially change when the world's diverted. Because John Denver didn't write that song until years after the original diversion.
But I gotta say, I love that song during the trailer. It was just, oh my god.
pretty good song.
for those who
Thank you,
aren't aware,
King
this is going to
Spencer.
be up and down the hills of West Virginia. They're claiming 4 distinct areas to explore.
I think it's more than 4. I just think it's 4 times the size of the last map.
Well, no, they're.
Again, I wouldn't trust seeing that. They're reporting on this evidently.
I did actually read what Eisen just pointed out. There is the emphasis on size and being 4 times larger than the previous.
There are 6 locations. There are 6 zones, supposedly. The Toxic Valley, the Mire, Savage Divide, the Forest, Ash Heap, and Cranberry Bog.
Now,
The mountain range intersecting the map.
But also, a big concern about Fallout 76, of course, is it being at 4 times larger than Fallout 4. How empty is it gonna be?
That's exactly what I'm thinking, yeah.
Well, with few NPCs, which basically means it's going to be mostly animal spawns. Because would raiders count as NPCs?
Yes.
There are no raiders.
Yeah.
No raiders, so it's all going to be animals.
However, no. Here's the thing: there are going to be bands of semi-feral ghouls that are capable of equipping themselves with firearms that are extremely hostile to player characters.
But hold on, why wouldn't there be raiders in the first place?
Because the only humans in the area yet are the ones coming out of 76. Everyone else is either a ghoul or they're still in their vaults.
Well, logic. Well, okay, hold on. But first of all, I'm looking at West Virginia in general. It doesn't seem to be that badly hit.
I don't know. I was in
And
D-
It's
When-
well, remember, it's not the initial explosions that fucked people up. It was the fallout,
Yeah, of course, yes.
which
But
spread everywhere.
DC is right there.
not every non-ghoul person, from my understanding, came from a vault, did they?
It's very
I'm pretty
rare.
sure it was just the incest.
It is very. If I remember Fallout lore right, if you were in very specific places in the U.S., there were very small pockets of people that survived outside of the vaults.
Most
Yeah.
of the people that are, not ghoulified either came from a vault or came from a U.S. military bunker, which also were opened up to give people access. That is,
Yeah.
in fact, where the Brotherhood comes from.
Yeah. I believe the military bunkers that were opened up. It was the East Coast that had was it the East Coast that had? No, it was the West Coast that had the military bunkers that were opened up because there was a military.
Guys, should we focus specifically on 76?
Yeah,
We should.
Yeah, true.
We're splitting hairs here. As far as 76, actually, I'll let you go on.
The one thing that's also noted is apparently VATS combat will be in the game, but different.
Well, it
It's
has
not
to
going to be. It's not going to be a time stop. It's going to be essentially an auto target.
I'm
It'll
okay
let-
with that.
Yeah, it'll be a targeting system basically.
Yeah.
That'll I assume it'll let you aim shots for specific body parts instead of increasing your accuracy or whatever. So that makes sense and still actually works technically within the game's setting.
Yeah.
It also kind of makes a fair trade-off for using it.
Also, I would not be surprised if they used a lot of mechanics from Fallout 4 for their gunplay and things like that, as well as the mod system. Just because it's what they have available, just with some upgrades. And I think that actually would work pretty well in an online game, whereas it didn't work as well in the Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If I can throw my 2 cents on this. So my biggest gripe is how the trade system is in place. If there are no NPC merchants as such, though that hasn't yet been confirmed, we don't know that yet. But if we go with the assumption that this is a player-driven game, and you're going to have vast swaths of territory that are not inhabited, and you encounter a few people here and there, so you're going to be relying perhaps on trading for various bits of survival gear, food, whatever it may be. They're going to really have to get this balance right to avoid the previous concern of griefing and those who find a way to exploit certain aspects so that certain people are able to get across with the best of items to the detriment of everyone else. With not enough information, it's difficult to sort of build a clear picture of this. But
How many people were in server? 24 to 32 or something like that, you said?
sorry,
It was like 24
That
to
wasn't
30.
English.
Sorry, 24 to 32 people per server, correct?
Yes, that is what I said, and that is what the reports are releasing.
That seems like very few people for that large an area.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. There's not a lot of people. You're just getting all of them out there, and it's also to make it, if it's overly crowded, it can also obviously cause a lot of the issues we're talking about. If it has limited crowding capabilities, it at least gives people a fighting chance to get themselves going. Also, you can create a camp, a base. You get one, I believe, of the release out of the vault, and you cannot put it anywhere near Vault 76. So you have to actually have it decently far away from Vault 76, so you can't just camp the spawn and fuck with newbies.
That's actually that's some good news at least.
Yeah, they
and
have been
speaking
talking
of smaller instances, so it does work pretty well for a number of games. Elite Dangerous. Some of these games are not good for other reasons. I'm reminded of Defiance, which is probably the nearest game to Fallout 76 I can think of in terms of theme and potentially mechanics. Don't know if any of you are familiar with the franchise, but it's not overly populated.
Mm-hmm. If I may, I've been keeping up with the news on this like a motherfucker, trying to make sure if it's worth my time or not, because, as I've made abundantly clear in previous episodes of this series, Fallout New Vegas is my favorite game of all time. So far what we've learned is you can play with up to 4 players who are your friends, you can establish camps, you can have skill specializations based on a card system, and upgrades based on leveling for those given skills in the special trees. You can have mutations, which will be permanent benefits, both and negatives and hindrances, on your character that you will acquire through radiation and can only be cured through, I believe, radiation treatment, if at all. Another thing to note is that the stealth system is being reworked, and there are a lot of folks on this game who've worked on some pretty good games, like Star Wars Galaxies and The Old Republic, to make this a good game. So in all likelihood, it'll probably end up being a pretty decent game. And if you look at a lot of the guys who are making it, and I recommend there's a documentary, I'm trying to remember who it was by, who did an outline of all this, and the guys who are doing the creation of this game, they went all up and down West Virginia, did their research on it. It's No Clip made the documentary, and they have all kinds of lore from actual West Virginia put in there, like the multi-staged boss that is the Mothman, the Grafton Monster, and so many more. It may probably be good. I'm hoping.
Okay.
Oh.
Again, considering the size of the area, I think 32 might be a little small, but
is it 32 per one of the 6 regions, similar to the instances system they have in Star Trek Online, or is it 32 people for all 6?
It's for all 6, but keep in mind it's only 4 times as big as Fallout 4's map. Fallout 4's map was the, air quotes, biggest map, only in verticality, if you counted vertical spaces. Given that this is accounting mostly for horizontal space versus horizontal, in all actuality, it's probably only about maybe 2.5 times as big as the Skyrim map.
Okay.
That's still a big map.
Yeah,
it is, but 32 players who are all looking for loot like a motherfucker, because you always search, like you pick every area clean in Fallout. Well, 4 guys on a team, you're going to be picking entire towns clean like it's nothing. So, frankly, it's a great way to at least give people a fighting chance at getting some loot.
And are they going to be official servers only?
I believe so, but they'll probably open it up for modders to get access, and they will be giving it mod support.
Really? Because there's something up here that said it probably will not be moddable.
They said there will be mod support. They said that the GEC will in fact be released for this game.
Yeah, if they're releasing a GEC, they're going to be opening up mod support quite a bit. Though there probably will be
What do we say about Todd Howard?
What?
It just works.
No, what do we say about Todd Howard and not to trust his lies?
The only thing we say about Todd Howard is I know I'm not buying fucking Skyrim again.
Hey, you want Skyrim for Amazon Alexa? Guys, I hate to break it to you, that actually exists.
I want it for the Sega
Are you
GameCube.
serious?
It does.
Right, but we're diverging here.
Hey, that was an E3 announcement.
So hold on, I do have a question for Jack, because you seem pretty knowledgeable about this.
Yeah.
Do you know about the questing? Because I really want to know if they're going to do it MMO style, or if they're going to try and keep the Fallout system where it's actually the quests are consequential and they actually have some weight to them.
If there's no NPCs, how can there be quests?
That's exactly what I'm wondering, and that's what I really I think that's what this might lack in that department, which kind of disappoints me.
From what I can tell, and this is somewhat speculative, most of the quests will be distributed to you via air quotes radio from your overseer for Vault 76. Apparently, it's not necessarily going to be a definitive quest system, since there are no dedicated human NPCs, and it does have a story. That's one thing I do know. It has an actual story, and after the story, you start getting access to nuke codes. So that's what you do. That's how you do that. That's all we know right now.
Okay, so I mean, I can see perhaps it might not be. It possibly won't be too bad if it's just from the overseer giving you
Hey,
stuff to
guys,
do.
give you a heads up. We are at the halfway point.
Yeah, I say we move on then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to move quickly.
Yeah.
Second game in the line, Shadows Die Twice.
Shikiro.
So I'm gonna say that this is part Dark Souls, part Shenmue, part Bionic Commando.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of details. All we know is that they pretty much gutted all of the RPG mechanics that's the Dark Souls series previously had. There's no longer leveling. There's no real like getting different kinds of weapons. You're pretty much stuck with a katana, from what I
I
hear.
mean, that's because you're in the samurai era. I mean, what else?
Well,
would
yeah.
you-
I mean, I'm not saying I mind that, but hey, as long as the combat's tight and there's enough variety of it, I'll be happy.
It looks like that arm's gonna come. That's where I pulled out Bionic Commando when you see him like
Yeah.
latching on to stuff and hauling himself up with that arm.
You have a grappling hook, a shield, a flare, something like the fire, a cannon, which is obviously a Berserk reference. Good job, Miyazaki.
I mean, the whole Soul series is a Berserk reference, so
True.
You're right. You're right.
there's also, supposedly they're keeping like weapon buffs. Like supposedly there's an attachment that puts like a flame buff on your sword. I heard.
Do we know
but-
anything about multiplayer?
I've heard
There's
no
absolutely
no.
they completely gutted multiplayer as well.
Damn.
Which
I actually enjoyed that.
I'm actually kind of glad about.
Holy shit! A single player game, a purely single player game.
God
is
of
built by
War.
art.
God of War.
Yeah, but I don't care about that.
Ugh. Let's see. And then, like, I was wondering, there was this giant snake in the trailer at the end of it that attacked us. Are we gonna like fight more mystical creatures than that, or is that just gonna be all?
There were
Supposedly, they
giants.
described it as
Definitely saw Oni.
they described it as having several kind of like cat and mouse sections with like giant monsters. So you're probably going to be jumping around with your grappling hook trying to not get eaten and torn apart by the giant snake. And supposedly there's no way you can kind of progress through the world how you want. It's not like Neo where it's like mission based, which I'm thankful for because that's the one thing I really hated about Neo. Is that you're kind of stuck in these little linear levels and you just kind of have to progress through it, and then it's just you're kind of stuck with that. I found that to be like the worst aspect of Neo, even though I thought the combat was more interesting, but the worst aspects of Neo was like lack the linear levels and the uninspired creature designs for me.
I also
But-
heard. Oh, sorry.
Sekiro might have some of the uninspired like monster designs, but we haven't seen too much of it, so I can't judge it quite as yet. But it seems to have a lot more going on than Neo did, as of now.
I also heard it's trying to have like that the interwoven world of Dark Souls 1, where like you can get to point A to point B without any like travel points, and that's what I really enjoyed about the first Soul series, the first Soul game.
Yeah, it's like I did kind of hate teleporting because it feels, after playing the original Dark Souls, teleporting everywhere just feels really cheap because you had to earn that first one. But I think the grappling hook is going to make traveling around the world a lot more interesting and fun, as well as the combat and everything. Like the grappling hook is the
It's basically
Like-
Batman Arkham from the
Yeah.
Batman Arkham series.
It's amazing, is what it is.
I know.
You know.
Hook shot.
Honestly, that's that. I mean, they make some pretty decent games, and you know, it's probably going to be great. I'm not a big fan of the Soul series, but if it actually has fluid combat for once, I might actually give it a solid try and enjoy it.
Play Bloodborne if you want that.
I don't have a PS4, and I don't intend on ever wasting my money like that.
Hmm.
I mean, if you're gonna buy a console, PlayStation's probably the better one.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna buy a console again, unless it's maybe something like a Switch.
I mean, Switch is mostly the Zelda and Smash box.
Oh please, it's Skyrim on the shitter box. But enough about that. Unless we want to discuss a Switch game, your call.
We
Nope.
don't have one on the list.
Right.
We have one, but
It's Roller Coaster Tycoon.
no. Shut up.
Starlink.
Also, speaking of like Dark Souls combat theme, Ghost of Tsushima.
That's
Again,
I have
don't give a shit.
I'm
That
kind
was-
of.
that
I
was
had to
from-
pull.
Go ahead.
I had to pull back my expectations on that, to be honest, because it's from the developers of the Infamous series, and Infamous doesn't exactly have the most tight or kind of challenging gameplay, even though they're trying to say, "Oh yeah, that's what we're going for." I'm kind of holding back my expectations because
That's fair. But-
the gameplay trailer where they kind of stripped out the UI and a lot of that, like, I'm not sure how it's going to play out. And I feel like sorry, I'm stuttering. But I feel like there's going to be another like Watch Dogs twist, like, oh, look at the graphics, it looks so good, and then it comes to the game and it's just like, oh, that's not what you showed us.
Bigfoot just completely destroyed my dreams.
But I've gotta say that ending little mini boss fight, that was such a beautiful storyboard and setting and all around. Just
Well,
the
yeah,
fight
I mean,
at the pond.
And visually, this is striking.
Yeah,
If that was true, just minus UI gameplay footage, it looks tight. And during that section when you're infiltrating the temple, that looks like it's straight up, Assassin's Creed. Because you're just actually probably more akin to an Arkham game because you're get one, get another one, stab through the wall.
Yeah, it's basically Batman Arkham Knight with the fear takedown.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm holding back my expectations on that one for now.
Yeah.
I want to see more of it because I don't trust Sucker Punch as much as I trust FromSoft. So I want to see more before I.
I mean, everything seemed to take the boxes because apparently, from what I'm given to understand, even the sword combat was accurate. As in the way they used their blades, the way they held their blades was spot on.
Yeah, I've been noticing. I wouldn't say it started with Kingdom Come Deliverance, but there appears to be a trend where people are wanting more realistic combat. At least with
Meanwhile,
sword. Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Battlefield universe, hey, you want to play a wayman in World War II with
That's
a
later.
That's later. Stop. Abort. Though we may want to consider jumping to that now. We only have 20 minutes left.
Yeah,
I think we should. There's plenty to talk about in that one.
I think we should cover one more thing we like, and I think I know what's next on the list. So go ahead.
Cyberpunk.
I don't think that's it.
What?
It's obviously Farming Simulator 19.
well, actually, there's a whole bunch of ties for this point with 2 marks: Doom Eternal, Metal Wolf Chaos, Elder Scrolls 6, and Cyberpunk.
I'm okay with the first 2.
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
That's not one of the first 2.
Fuck you, Ison.
Is there really much to talk about in terms of the Elder Scrolls 6?
Yeah, that's all right. That's the thing about Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
We didn't get much about Cyberpunk either.
Well, if you I've been watching a lot of
We're dealing with CD Projekt Red.
But unfortunately, a recent tweet from the official Twitter for Cyberpunk, I don't know how much of it was a troll or they're just cucking where they're praising Polygon.
Oh god.
Don't get me started on Paul.
I mean, the tweet in question was a Tenacious D Pick of Destiny reference, but at the same time, you chose Polygon as great game site.
It's like picking CNN.
Or Hitler.
Or both.
I'll take Hitler because I think Hitler will at least have a little bit more enjoyability doing the polygon.
And potentially honesty.
Yeah.
I've actually been watching a lot
At
of.
least Hitler had a code of ethics. I think that's something we can know.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of game reviewers talk about after they seen the there was a private screening of Cyberpunk's gameplay, like over 50 minutes, 45 minutes, and that they basically describe it as first person, but then they're just like, screw it. But it was really good. Like the gameplay was like you can go any way that you want, and that you're basically kind of cyborg, and that and like the interactions, like you can tell someone the truth, but then lie to another motherfucker to the side and basically punch him.
So they're going kind of old school Deus Ex.
Yes,
But a bit,
it's
more,
like
but a bit more. I wouldn't call it
It's-
zany off the wall, but a bit more
Role playing.
Retro punk.
retro punk. Yeah, it's not quite pink mohawk, but it isn't pure black trench coat, which was what Deus Ex was.
But that's what people have wanted for years. I mean, I don't know if any of you had the pleasure of playing some of the Matrix games.
Don't
And,
remind me.
You were alright.
Right. Now that we're all suitably cheered up, this game has been one of those games that many, many people of the genre have been pinning their hopes on. As to the first-person, third-person aspect, to me it's a bit meh. It's not such a big issue, but I can see how some people, aside from the wanting sort of a Witcher kind of engine, they want to see that kind of, and obviously you can't if you have first-person perspective. I don't know how important that is to you guys, but in a setting where visuals is a very important aspect, I can see the case for that.
Yeah, I could kind of get over the fact, like, it's a shooter game. I prefer my shooter games to be in first person, to be honest.
Is it a shooter?
yeah, it's a shooter.
It's a shooter.
Okay.
I mean, it can't. It,
Yeah, but I got
it
no
can be
horses.
a shooter.
It's Cyberpunk.
I-
If you wanted to, you could run in there with a chainsaw arm.
Like I said, I've got no horse in this race. I was never really interested in any of the insert prefix punk things. Anyway,
Here's the thing, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a huge fan of Cyberpunk as a genre. I have no faith in this game. Mostly because, one, the devs have proven time and time again to be ultimately disappointing. Sue me for having that opinion, I guess.
I'll see you in
But-
court then, Ison.
Love you, buddy. But more importantly, a huge thing that really, gets my goat about all of this is that it's been hyped so much, I genuinely do not believe it will ever live up to the hype. And there's a reason it's taking so long, and that's because it's frankly probably stuck in some level of development hell. We've been teased this game how many times, and we only now just got a cinematic trailer. I gotta be the cynic in the room and say there's a
They
reason
had
for
closed door beta gameplay at
That's-
E3, and we're
that. I would not count
supposedly
that
gonna be-
anyway.
Don't call it beta. It's probably pre-alpha or alpha.
gonna get gameplay footage in like August at Gamescom. If you didn't,
I'm just until I see actual proper gameplay footage, I am gonna have my healthy amount of skepticism, and the more time that passes, the more skepticism I will have.
you only have to wait till August apparently, and then they're actually gonna make it public.
That's
So-
assuming they don't decide to
that
do
could-
an early
that could-
release.
that confuses me. If you're going to have gameplay available in August, why not just have it at the big event of E3?
Because they're still working on shit. That's basically
Also,
what it
they're a
is.
European company, and Gamescom is the bigger one in Europe.
Okay.
A lot of Europeans watch it for the Gamescom release footage.
All right.
And also,
I feel like it was just to build hype and anticipation more than anything.
Okay. Well, considering how low on time we're getting, we're just going to move ahead into the second one. I'm sorry for all the games we didn't get to talk about, but
it's fine.
we are in a time crunch.
Dippy. You
So-
need a license to watch.
Biggest cringe / blunder of E3.
In one
all of
word.
EA.
EA.
That's 2 letters.
EA.
EA. Yes, EA.
Yeah.
No, it'd be just because in some languages it's
No. I think the proper way to respond is honestly just you see EA and you're like, yeah. About their entire fucking thing. So there you go.
So, Blip, are you glad that EA is finally representing the transgender one-armed female soldiers of World War II from Britain?
I am so glad because they're such a benevolent company that not only have they've stated openly that they're not going to bring in pay to win and lockboxes, but they're so good that they've raised millions of dollars for charities.
Yeah, we're going to diverge into that one actually because this is actually fairly relevant and it flew under a lot of people's radar because it happened at the beginning of the month. They had something called Play to Give.
Oh,
They were donating over $1 million to 3 separate quote-unquote charities.
was one of them the Red Cross.
The only charitable thing here is your definition of that word.
Yeah. The 3 charities in question are the United Nations He for She,
Kill me.
Pacers National Bullying Prevention Center,
Kill me twice.
and the Clinton Foundation.
and Ditch the Label.
Kill me twice.
So what they wanted was to promote inclusivity and diversity within gaming through their own efforts.
Now get this, we actually have a diversity guest on today. So, diversity guest, and you know who you are. How do you feel about all this stuff?
He's muted.
God damn it, Kiwi.
No, I was not muted. I am absolutely astounded by the amount of virtue signaling these people do. Like, holy crap.
Do you want your free Starbucks coffee?
Well, I'm not black.
It was in-game challenges for 9 different games that would help raise money for these quote-unquote charities.
Organizations.
These organizations that only ran for actually a little over 3 days. June 1st through June 3rd. The games in question, Battlefield 1, FIFA 18, Star Wars Battlefront 2, NBA Live 18, Mass Effect Andromeda, Madden 18, NHL 18, Need for Speed Payback, and the one that hurts me and Blot the most, Star Wars The Old Republic.
Wow, those games are bigger jokes than the organizations they're trying to raise money for.
Okay, but I do have a serious question, though. What does the He for She United Nations organization do?
Hermione's gay feminist.
What really boils down to, men need to give women their money.
Women are equal to men,
yeah.
so men need to do
Let's
more
call
for
it the
women.
International UN Space Feminist Coalition of Gayness, but that works too.
Yes.
The Space Coalition of Faggotry. Get it right,
And the
Dyson.
bullying prevention
Feminism and faggotry, same diff.
the Bullying Prevention Center is trying to create a world without bullying by uniting for kind, inclusive, and accepting communities and online divides.
Or else.
Do they not know?
Personally, I'm okay with that, I guess. That's at least somewhat excusable and acceptable.
And
It's
Ditch
not-
the Label is another anti-bullying thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the
Everybody
last
who has
two
stuff on
aren't
the
that
internet, get
bad.
over
The
it.
problem is that the thing is the definition of bullying can mean whatever the hell they want it to mean.
True. I mean, I guess the last two aren't that bad. It's the first one that really gets me. It's
Well, EA's done this shit before, so.
yeah, well, it is EA. Don't get me
Well, the thing is, during their press conference, they actually, as part of their pitch, not only were they not going to, and Blob, you kind of misspoke there, they weren't going to introduce pay-to-win mechanics in their games, but they were also donating to charities. That was part of their sales pitch at E3, and I'm not joking.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the charities that they were donating to. And what Blop and I both caught, but he spoke up first, was their wording. They weren't going to introduce pay to win. They already did. So technically, they wouldn't be lying when they're not going to introduce it anymore. They already have introduced it. Now they can throw it in and say, well, we're not introducing it, it's already there.
So, are we allowed to talk real quick about the whole Battlefield 5 Battle Royale / diversity thing they got going on?
Yeah, because let's face it, most of the cringe was EA.
Yeah. But I mean, first of all, Battle Royale, seriously, in a Battlefield game? And do we need that?
No.
I really want to know who's actually asking for this.
Okay,
wasn't asking for another
last World War II based Battlefield game, I believe it was Battlefield 1942. It was very clear
43.
objectives. You go to objective, you capture objective. You bleed the enemy team dry. It's basically old school team shooter, team deathmatch shooter, kind of. I can't remember what the exact term is for it. But you have only so many respawns total. You have points you got to capture, and if you capture more points, the enemy starts basically bleeding respawns, even when they're not respawning.
I mean, are we talking about like a ticket-based system?
Yeah, we're talking about Conquest. Literally, this is just...
this sounds like Conquest.
Yeah, Conquest.
Conquest.
Got it. So it's called Conquest. Sorry, I haven't played a game that has that in a long time. So
Contra coming in mobile now.
yeah, and that's what it was. Every map was just a little bit different. Some maps had naval related stuff. Other maps had more aircraft in it. Some were just battles of tanks.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
Let's not lie. All right, here's the thing. There are two kinds of because I'm a Battlefield fan. There are two kinds of Battlefield I wanted. Right, either World War II one, or more preferably, because as everyone here in the Batcave knows, I'm a huge fan of this era of combat, Vietnam War, which would be epic.
Battlefield Vietnam already exists.
Yeah, as a DLC for another game, its own game has never actually fully been released unless you kind of count two, kind of.
Well,
But
here's the thing.
more to the point.
Do you really want DICE to make a Vietnam game now that we've seen what they've done with World War II?
I don't want them to make this game, but I want a Battlefield in the style of the Bad Company series, but it's entirely Vietnam. That would be amazing.
I'd rather have Forrest Gump in a video game than some prosthetic lesbian.
Yeah, I'm with that. I like the idea of Forrest Gump. They can even do a Forrest Gump DLC pack out. It's my favorite movie. I don't care. Go ahead. Oh my god, just don't make it a bunch of prosthetic limb cockney bitches.
I will be Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan didn't have an act. Actually, he did. At any rate, he wasn't retarded. I think.
Is there going to be a shrimp boat DLC?
God, I hope. You can cook shrimp so many ways.
But related to that is, so BioWare unveiled Anthem. Guys, let's face it, they're on the block. This is their last chance.
Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda.
You know what?
I mean, Anthem looks more fun than Destiny does, to be honest. But I'm not sure what the gameplay hook is. I don't think I would buy it, but
I love how they had to announce
it's an Xbox game, so I wouldn't buy it anyway. I don't know if Xbox.
I love how they had to announce that there was going to be no loot boxes. But there was
I love how that's something that they think they're going to get pats on the back for.
It's like,
you're not being a scummy company. We love you for it. No, fuck
EA,
you. This is what it is.
You got voted the worst company in America 2 years in a row.
They got second in place. No, they only got second
who's
place.
first in place now?
Monsanto. They actually were in the running against that company of all companies. Almost lost to Monsanto.
There's not a company you
always
want to
be
just
proud
lose.
of themselves.
But at any rate, so despite quite a few of us grew up with BioWare games.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic.
Actually, even the current Old Republic, which Flippity Blob and I are playing right now, it's ridiculously well written. It's good, but to see them on the chopping block like this, because I want to know whether or not Mass Effect Andromeda's failing was because of forced diversity hirings or forced placement by EA.
The problem with Andromeda is they took a game. You guys know No Man's Sky, right? It's appointments. Well, a lot of the basis for Andromeda was a failed attempt at doing No Man's Sky before No Man's Sky by BioWare. And it was basically, I can't remember which team did it. Was it Montreal?
Yeah, it was Montreal.
Yeah,
They had to shut down afterwards.
Montreal didn't have experience doing a full game. They had experience doing DLC for Mass Effect 2 and 3. You know those DLC additional stories?
They
were-
made the multiplayer for Mass Effect 3, which actually was pretty good.
Yeah, for what it was pretty good. So you have a studio that doesn't have experience running a game, having to retool up something, and not really having leadership. It was rudderless for a long time. So like all of the writing and the voice acting was done in like 6 months to 12 months.
Well, and one of the lead writer was a kill all white men type.
Yeah,
Well,
but to be fair, that's not necessarily the issue. People can. I would have even forgiven that if the game was good.
Yeah.
The problem is that ultimately, as someone who regrettably bought the game, the game's major faults more than anything else are its shortcomings, in its mechanics and in the fact that generally it was just a buggy mess. On multiple occasions, I had to restart my game. If you look at it, the character models are like they reuse so many animations, and you can tell, and it's jarring and disturbing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to say this right now. I played through and finished Mass Effect Andromeda.
I'm sorry.
It felt like they had, it felt like, honestly, I did have some fun because I was over the fact that I spent about $60 on it. If it was on sale, I would say go for it, like $10. But the thing is, it felt like they had a really good idea, and it seemed like it could have been something really great. And you could see the foundations were somewhat there, but it felt like EA pushed them to release it pretty fast, which is, from my understanding, exactly what happened, is it not?
It was a combination of upcoming deadlines, pressure from EA, and a retooled concept combined with development hell and being rudderless until like the last 6 months to a year. Like writing didn't commence till like a year before the game was released. Normally, BioWare games like Mass Effect, they start writing it before they even get into basic programming. That's why the stories are so good for the most part in the Mass Effect series until the end of 3 and Andromeda.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the end of 3, but
and it wasn't god awful. It was just
but I mean,
very,
it was
very
pretty fun.
Hey, let's not split hairs about old news. Here's the thing: is that I would be a lot more forgiving if it wasn't for the fact that you can make a retail game that's good.
Yeah.
I can point to one that's come out very recently
Actually,
that was very popular: Overwatch.
Well, okay, we are heavily diverging here because now we're talking about Mass Effect Andromeda. But the problem is because of Andromeda's failure commercially, and that means they're next on the chopping block at EA. Let's face it, EA is really quick to bring the axe down on a studio. They're notorious for this.
They'll take the studio, change everything that makes it good. Then when it doesn't shit gold, they're gonna fucking take it out back and give it the old Yeller treatment.
Which
even though they just left it alone, it would have been fine.
Basically, if Anthem doesn't sell like if
hotcakes.
Actually, I'm not going to say hotcakes. I'm going to say McDonald's at a body positivity convention.
I thought you were going to say McRibs during October.
Yeah, if it doesn't sell like gangbusters, if it does not make millions, if not billions of fucking dollars, then EA is going to axe BioWare. I don't think
Anthem's going to do that well. It looks really bland. I don't see any reason why I want to buy it.
It's inevitable.
What we can hope for is that some of the members of BioWare, after they get the axe, either jump to another, like a mid-sized studio or a smaller studio that just needs some talent, and it basically BioWare has a spiritual successor and rises from the ashes. That's our best bet here.
Because I mean, this is heartbreaking to see them on their last leg like this.
It is.
I mean, if I was to describe Anthem, it looks like Monster Hunter, but without any of the engaging mechanics, and you just use guns and shit.
It's just, and a jetpack. It has a jetpack, apparently.
Yeah. That's what it looks like to me. It just looks like a boring version of Monster Hunter without any of the real challenge of Monster Hunter.
I don't remember who said this, but I would be okay with BioWare successor if it weren't for the fact that there are a couple games that I'm waiting for to be released, like a new Dragon Age, new Dragon Age.
We're not
There's a
getting
couple other series, but I just want to say that real quick. But that's what makes me really sad about BioWare is that, like I said, it really does seem like it's going to get executed soon, and that's really sad.
Old Yeller.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe we'll get lucky, and they'll just sell BioWare to another company.
I don't think so. I'm going to call it
Yeah,
now. BioWare's pretty much done. The best they can hope to do is, as I've said, is to leave form their own studio. That's what happened with Westwood Studios. They formed Petroglyph, but unfortunately Petroglyph did not last that long. EA is simply going to do what they always do. They're going to milk this like Luke Skywalker.
Don't remind me. Dear God, please stop. The flashbacks. God, why?
We didn't need to know where the blue milk came from, Disney. We
It
just
was
assumed
green.
it was some weird alien creature that was vaguely
Seawell,
cowboy.
it was
It
green.
was less
It
lore
was-
relevant than the fucking
was
Kessel
neutral.
Run. Get the fuck out of here.
Anyway, the only thing that I found kind of disappointing, the only other cringe that I really came across with EA was the presentation for Last of Us 2.
Just to give you guys a heads up,
That was Sony.
guys,
Yeah,
give you a
that's
heads
Sony.
up. We're gonna have to get spun down soon. I've got to be up in 6 hours.
That's why I jumped to this last thing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much the trailer itself as the fact that they funneled everybody into this tent for immersion, and then to continue the rest of their conference, they had to come out of the tent and back into the auditorium. Like the fuck?
And then you go from banjo player to flute player. It's just dragged it out.
Yeah, that was just. Yeah, and people were complaining about the flute player. Whitewashing.
I mean, I don't really care. I just thought it was obnoxious.
Wait, you're talking about the guy that was using that Japanese wood flute?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact: he's one of 3 guys in the world who actually knows who's an actual master of that. So.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't care. I just found them dragging out their conference by playing musical instruments for 5 minutes.
Yeah. I'm just trying to avoid the whole, they're whitewashing. They could have gotten a Japanese. Here's the thing: there's only 3 guys of that caliber in the fucking world. So, if you want to talk about just musical accompaniment, how about Bethesda pulling Andrew WK out of fucking nowhere?
I was okay with that.
I'm fine with that too, but the audience did not give a shit.
That's because the audience sucks and doesn't appreciate the pure beauty that is Andrew W. fucking K.
Yeah, they were talking during the
Okay,
entire thing.
Okay, first off, I appreciate Andy WK. For God's sake, he released a Gundam album. How can I not worship him as a pseudo god for that?
But Spart, let's admit it, they would applaud him if he was in Guitar Hero.
Yeah, they would have. But anyway, I think that's all we really have time for because Seawall has to wake up. Because
There is something quick to note,
all right.
and this is something worth really addressing, is that more importantly than anything, Todd Howard called us all degenerates on stage, and I think that we really need to bring attention to that. That is all.
I'm sick of Todd Howard's existence at this point. But
He exists in defiance of me. He's like he's my version of Blip's Razor Fist.
Yeah, Faust.
But anyway, so wrapping up and final thoughts. So once again, from my left to my right, Ice and Fire.
Be right back. Gonna go save the United States of America in my giant mech.
Beggar.
Nothing more to say.
Bigfoot.
Come on, guys! I got another 1 million copies of Skyrim remastered to sell. Are you gonna buy it or not?
With that fucking or though you cunt.
I'm going to quote Andrew Wilson of EA. This whole concept of the industry hiding everything until the very last moment is an outdated way to make games. Invite people in as early as you can. Deal with the feedback and build that back into the game. But get 2-3 years down the track are amazing games built with the help of the community.
Trademark.
I didn't watch much of E3. A couple games I'm interested in. Hopefully, the games market doesn't crash before a couple of them come out. So after that, who gives a fuck?
Kiwi.
So, it was a pleasure being here for the first time, and we had some pretty good discussions, so I hope you guys have a good night.
All right. Wandering. Closing thoughts.
I'm gonna go broke from buying all these games. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you're worried about buying a bunch of games. I came up with fucking trading cards.
No, I'm good at a PC, which is like $2,000. So
Well, to be fair, not all of us have the unethical fortitude to Jack Sparrow all of our games.
At any rate, this has been the Deplorable Batcave, bringing you our thoughts on E3. We'll be when next time we see you. God knows what we'll bring. Be afraid. Later.
AIDS.